Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're shifting gears a bit, moving away from global affairs to something, well, much more immediate, much more visceral, maybe.
Yeah, definitely visceral. We're talking about that heart-stopping moment when your cat, your curious, maybe slightly too brave cat encounters a venomous reptile.
Exactly.
Yep.
That first 60 minutes, it's absolutely critical. And cats, well, they seem to find snakes, don't they? Either hunting or just poking their noses where they shouldn't.
They really do. So this deep dive, it's all about necessity, really. Giving you the essential facts you need right away. Because in that moment, panic is easy, but knowledge is, well, life-saving.
Okay, so here's our mission for this deep dive. We've sifted through the info on the 4 main poisonous snakes here in the U.S. We want to give you the crucial first aid steps, the absolute must-dos and don'ts.
And importantly, help you understand the difference. Because some bites are painful, sure, but others are potentially lethal. We need to know how to tell, or at least how to react when we can't tell immediately.
Let's start with a pretty sobering statistic, just to set the scene. Our sources say something like 90% of snake bites on cats, they happen on the head and legs.
Which makes sense given how cats investigate things. But here's the kicker. If a venomous snake bites the cat's body, the torso, that's usually lethal. The venom just spreads too fast, too centrally.
Wow, okay, so reaction time, knowing what to do instantly, that's everything.
It really is.
Right, so first things first, the immediate panic question. Is it even venomous? How can you spot a non-poisonous bite? Maybe take a small breath of relief.
Okay, best case scenario. Non-poisonous. If you can get a look at the bite area, and you should try, you typically won't see really bad, rapid swelling. The cat won't be acting like it's in sudden severe pain.
And the marks themselves.
The key thing is the pattern. A non-poisonous snake leaves multiple smaller tooth marks, often in a kind of horseshoe shape. What you don't see are those distinct deep puncture wounds from fangs.
Got it. No deep fang marks, maybe horseshoe pattern. Okay. But if that pattern isn't there, or you see fang marks, we're in the danger zone. So who are the culprits? The 4 main threats in the U.S.
Right. There are 4 main types of poisonous snakes you need to worry about stateside. You've got rattlesnakes, copperheads, cottonmouths, people often call them water moccasins, and the coral snakes.
Figuring out what happened relies on, what, 3 things?
Yeah, basically 3 key pieces of information. What the bite looks like, how the cat is acting right now, and, if at all possible, identifying the snake itself.
I saw a line in one of the sources that really struck me about that last point. It actually advised the owner to, quote, kill the snake first, if possible.
Yeah, that's intense, isn't it? But it tells you how critical that species ID is for the vet. They need to know which snake it was to choose the right antivenom. It really underscores the time pressure involved.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about the majority of these. Except for the coral snake, all the others, rattlesnakes, copperheads, cottonmouths, they're all pit vipers.
Yeah, correct. That's a really important category. They share some key features.
So if you just catch a quick glimpse, what screams pit viper?
Well, generally, they're pretty substantial snakes, often 4 to 8 feet long. They have rough-looking scales, not smooth ones.
Okay.
And the head shape is a big one. It's broad, distinctly triangular. Think arrowhead shape. Also, their pupils aren't round like non-poisonous snakes. They're elliptical, slit-like a cat's eyes, actually.
And the pit part of the name.
Right, that's crucial. They have this heat-sensing pit, a little indentation on each side of the head, sort of between the eye and the nostril.
Ah, okay. And they have fangs.
Yes, big ones. Retractable fangs in the upper jaw, ready to inject venom quickly.
So when one of these bites a cat, what does the bite site look like? Assuming it's not a dry bite, which we'll get to.
You'll usually see 1, maybe 2 clear puncture wounds, bleeding. Those are the fang marks. And the reaction locally as well, it's usually immediate and severe.
How severe?
We're talking rapid, intense swelling that spreads quickly, very obvious pain for the cat. The area gets red, and you might see bruising or little hemorrhages under the skin because the venom starts breaking down tissue right away.
Okay, breaking down tissue. That's why their venom is called a hemotoxin or cytotoxin, right? It attacks blood and cells directly.
Exactly. It's nasty stuff, works fast locally.
But here's the twist, the really dangerous part, that moment you mentioned, the dry bite.
Yes, this is so important. About a quarter, maybe 25% of bites from poisonous snakes are actually dry. The snake strikes, maybe defensively, but doesn't inject venom.
And the danger there is?
No local reaction, no immediate swelling, no sudden intense pain. The bite site might look like just minor punctures.
So let me get this straight. I could see fang marks on my cat, but if there's no swelling, I absolutely cannot just assume everything's fine.
That's the critical takeaway. You cannot rely on the absence of swelling as proof of safety, because severe systemic poisoning, meaning the venom did get injected and is circulating, can happen without any obvious local signs at the bite site itself. The cat might seem perfectly okay for hours.
That's terrifying, because you might wait, right? You might think, oh, maybe it wasn't so bad, and delay getting to the vet.
Precisely. It dramatically increases the risk of delaying treatment until it's potentially too late.
So if venom was injected, what makes the signs show up faster or slower? It sounds like it's not always immediate.
It's incredibly variable. Signs of actual envenomation might not appear for several hours. It depends on, well, a whole list of things.
Like what?
The species of snake, for one, how much venom was actually injected, and interestingly, that doesn't always correlate with how big the snake is. A smaller snake can still deliver a lethal dose.
Huh. Okay. What else?
Where the bite occurred on the body makes a huge difference. A bite to a fatty area might absorb slower than one directly into a muscle, or worse, a vein. And of course, the cat's own size and general health play a big role. A smaller, weaker cat is going to be affected more severely and quickly.
Okay, so lots of variables. If we do suspect a pit viper bite, maybe hours later,
Yeah.
what behavioral signs are we looking for? What tells us, okay, this is bad?
It often starts with the cat becoming extremely restless, agitated. Then you might see panting, lots of drooling, maybe weakness or trembling.
If it progresses.
In severe cases, you start seeing systemic effects. Things like diarrhea, the breathing becomes shallow or difficult, the cat might collapse. Seizures are possible, it can progress to shock, and unfortunately death if not treated aggressively.
Right, so that covers the pit vipers, the hemotoxins causing that rapid tissue damage.
Yeah.
But there's that other one, the exception in the U.S., the coral snake.
Yeah.
Totally different beast, right?
Completely different, both in how it looks and how its venom works. Coral snakes are generally smaller, usually less than 3 feet. They have a small, rounded head with a distinct black nose.
And the famous markings.
Ah, yes, the bands. Bright colors, red, yellow, and black. And the key identifier for true coral snakes versus mimics is that the colored bands go all the way around the body. Remember the rhyme? Red touches yellow, kill a fellow, red touches black, friend of Jack, or sometimes venom lack.
Good old rhyme. And their bite is different, too.
Yeah, their fangs aren't retractable like pit vipers. They're smaller, fixed. So a coral snake often has to sort of hang on and chew to inject its venom effectively.
And the bite site reaction, less dramatic than a pit viper.
Typically, yes. You'll see less severe redness and swelling compared to a pit viper bite, but don't let that fool you. The pain can still range from mild to really excruciating for the cat.
Because the venom isn't destroying tissue locally in the same way, it's doing something else entirely.
Exactly. Coral snake venom is primarily a neurotoxin. It doesn't cause that massive local tissue destruction. Instead, it targets the nervous system.
Ah, so it affects nerve signals, muscle control.
Precisely. It leads to things like muscle weakness, paralysis. It interferes with the communication between nerves and muscles, including the ones responsible for breathing.
So what specific signs, maybe delayed signs, would point towards a coral snake bite? What neurological symptoms?
You might see vomiting or diarrhea initially. Urinary incontinence is possible. But the classic signs are progressive weakness leading to paralysis. The cat might stumble, become unable to stand, breathing can become difficult, convulsions can occur, and eventually, coma.
It sounds incredibly serious. Do cats survive coral snake bites?
Some do, yes, especially with prompt and proper veterinary care, including respiratory support if needed, but it's absolutely a critical emergency. You need vet help immediately.
Okay. Before we jump fully into the emergency steps, there's one other venomous creature we need to mention, specific to certain areas. Lizards.
Right. Mainly in the southwest U.S., you have 2 types of poisonous lizards, the Gila monster and the Mexican beaded lizard. A bite from either can definitely be dangerous, potentially fatal, for a cat.
And their bite is different again, isn't it? They don't just strike and release.
No, they tend to clamp down hard, really latch on, and sort of chew the venom into the wound. They have incredible jaw strength.
So the advice here is pretty direct.
It is. If one of these lizards has clamped onto your cat, the emergency advice is you may need to physically pry its jaws open. The sources mention using pliers or a similar strong, flat tool to force the jaws apart and get the lizard off immediately.
Wow. Pliers. That sounds difficult in a panic. How important is getting it off right away versus just rushing to the vet with the lizard still attached?
It's pretty vital. Every second it hangs on, it's potentially grinding more venom in. Getting it detached as quickly and safely as possible is the priority, even if it takes a moment before you can transport the cat.
Okay. Intense. Right, so let's pivot to the protocol. The encounter happened. You suspect a poisonous bite snake or lizard. You're heading to the vet. What are the absolute must-do first aid steps before you get there? What can the owner do in those first few minutes?
This is where people often make mistakes based on, old advice or movie scenes. The single most important thing, the number one goal, is to slow the spread of venom.
And how do you do that?
Keep the cat quiet, calm, and still. Any excitement, struggling, frantic movement that increases the heart rate and blood circulation, which pumps the venom through the body much faster.
So no letting the cat walk to the car.
Absolutely not. You need to carry the cat. Gently, calmly. Keep them as still and relaxed as possible during transport. Minimize stress.
Okay, carry the cat, keep it calm. What about bandages? I know there's advice about constricting bands for bites on legs or tails.
Yes, if the bite is on a limb, you can apply a constricting band. Think like a handkerchief, a strip of cloth. Apply it a couple of inches above the bite, so between the bite and the heart.
But there's a big caution here, right? About making it too tight.
Huge caution. This is not a tourniquet. You're not trying to cut off all blood flow, which would cause massive tissue damage itself. You should easily be able to slip a finger underneath the band. If you can't, it's way too tight.
So snug, but not strangling.
Exactly. And another critical point. You must loosen that band for about 5 minutes every hour. Don't just tie it on and leave it tight for the whole car ride. Loosen it periodically.
Okay, that's precise. Keep calm, carry cat. Maybe a loose constricting band for limb bites, loosened hourly. Now, the big don'ts. What myths do we need to bust right now? What should owners absolutely avoid doing?
Right, the harmful stuff. First, do not wash the wound. Don't scrub it with water, soap, antiseptic, anything. Washing can actually increase blood flow to the area and might speed up venom absorption. Leave it alone.
Okay, no washing. What else? Ice. People often think ice helps.
Do not apply ice. It doesn't effectively slow venom absorption deep in the tissues, and you risk causing frostbite and damaging tissue that's already under attack from the venom. So no ice packs.
No washing, no ice. What about the classic movie scene, cutting the wound and sucking out the venom?
Please do not cut the wound. It achieves nothing helpful, causes more tissue trauma, increases risk of infection, and doesn't remove a significant amount of venom. And definitely do not try to suck out the venom. It's completely ineffective, and you risk absorbing venom yourself through cuts or membranes in your mouth. Just don't.
Got it. No washing, no ice, no cutting, no sucking. That's a clear list of things not to do. So you've kept the cat calm, maybe applied loose band, avoided the bad stuff, and now you're at the vet. What are they going to do that you couldn't?
The veterinary team takes over with critical support. They'll likely provide respiratory support if breathing is compromised, manage shock with IV fluids, maybe use antihistamines or pain control.
And the big one, the antivenin.
Yes, the most crucial treatment is often species-specific antivenin. This is the substance that can actually neutralize the venom circulating in the cat's body. And the key here is timing. The earlier the antivenin is given, the more effective it is, the better the chances of a good outcome because it stops the venom from doing more damage.
That really drives home the urgency of getting there fast and identifying the snake if possible.
Oh, absolutely.
So we've covered the types of snakes, the scary dry bite, the different venoms, the do's, the don'ts. What's the final overarching rule? The one thing every owner needs to remember, even if their cat seems okay after an hour or two.
The bottom line is hospitalization and observation. Because of that risk of delayed reactions, because of the dry bite possibility, because neurotoxins can take time to show effects, any cat suspected of being bitten by a poisonous snake or lizard needs to be hospitalized.
Even if they look fine initially.
Even if they look perfectly fine, they really need professional observation for at least 24 hours. The risk of a sudden downturn, of collapse hours later, it's just too high to risk sending them home early. Assume the worst until proven otherwise by time and monitoring.
That's a serious commitment, 24 hours of hospitalization. But it makes sense given everything we've discussed, the variability, the delayed danger.
It really does. Panic is your enemy here. Preparation, knowing these steps, that's your best defense.
So this deep dive really highlights that knowing the snake, understanding the type of venom, doing the right immediate care, it's all part of a race against time.
Exactly. And thinking about preparedness, those variables we mentioned where the bite is, the cat's health, those are always factors. But what you do first matters immensely.
Which leads us to a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. Given everything we know about how much the location of the bite and the cat's health matter, think about this. If you live where venomous reptiles are common, how much could knowing the exact species and maybe even the size of that snake or lizard before you even call the vet change things?
How much faster could they potentially start the right life-saving treatment, like the specific antivenin, the moment you walk through the door?
Something to think about. Preparation really can be the difference.
It truly can.
Thanks for joining us for this pretty intense but vital deep dive. We hope it helps. We'll see you next time.